So let's get to the questions. To give everyone some context, whoever watches this in the future. So first question is, who's ever watching this, tell us how long ago and how you first found me and my company.
Yeah, so I think I want to say it was October, around October of 2023 is when I came across you guys. It was through LinkedIn, obviously. You guys, LinkedIn and Facebook is where we kind of reached out and spoke, and then I met you in Panos, and you guys went over all the details. I think the first initial calls, like the first two calls, was actually with just Panos, and then eventually I met you, and you went over the technical side of things, but yeah, I met you guys over through social media. You guys went over everything, and I was very intrigued.
Was it first through LinkedIn or did you join our Facebook group or
I
was it
want to
both?
say it was I want to say it was a Facebook group, to be honest, because I remember at the time I was joining a lot of different Facebook groups. So
Okay.
I think I found you guys just because of like the name of your Facebook group. I think it's like
The
what is it again? It's
referral partner acquisition group.
referral partner. Yeah, so I remember at the time I was joining a bunch of different Facebook groups, like looking for that for referral partners. I was joining like realtor groups, stuff like that. So I came across you guys, and then I think I might have joined like the live of that you guys did, or I saw one of your posts, and then yeah, I just went from there.
Awesome. Yeah, wow, October. And so just to give some context on your business situation, how long have you been in mortgages? And what's your company situation like?
Yeah, so I just hit a year last month, so I'm just a little bit over a year. Work at a brokerage, so company wise, I've been at the same company. It's called More Lending, as you can see there. Wait.
Yeah, you can see it.
It's inverted. I was like, what the? All right. So yeah, it's called More Lending. But yeah, it's a brokerage. I've been there for a little bit over a year, and it's been going good so far.
Nice. Okay, so you've been in mortgages for a year, and I've
Mhm.
known you for a little bit over 6 months. So you started working with us about 6 months into doing mortgages. What was
Right.
the problem you were hoping our company could solve when you signed up to work with us?
I mean, the main thing is just lead gen. I'm not the biggest fan of cold calling, right? So, I have a marketing degree, so I'm always thinking of new ways or different ways to generate leads that doesn't necessarily have to do with, smile and dial and picking up the phone. So when I saw your approach of using LinkedIn as like a B2B, referral base, like, finding prospects and stuff like that, I thought that was quite interesting. So the main problem I was trying to solve was that just lead generation, finding new referral partners, stuff like that.
Since you said lead generation, I do want to clarify something because it does confuse a lot of people. Lead generation usually means, buying leads, running ads direct to
Right.
consumer. So, as you know from your experience working with us, our lead generation is different. It's not the one-to-one approach, it's the
Mhm.
one-to-many, meaning we connect you with lead gen sources like real estate who become your partners, and that's where you generate your referrals from, not leads. So
Exactly.
referral generation. So
Mhm.
for who's ever listening this, that needs to be clear. It can be confusing at times. So cool. And so when you signed up to work with us, did you face any unexpected curveballs when doing so? And if so, how did we help you overcome them?
I would say, I mean, I don't think any major curveballs. I mean, obviously, it's
That's
like
awesome.
when I started with you guys, I was also starting in the industry. So it was a lot about, kind of learning how to walk at the same time. So, a lot of the initial meetings, it was awesome because I was exposed to a lot of different realtors really quick, right? Because I was
Hmm.
setting up these meetings, back to
Yeah.
back with you guys. So I was able to have all these different conversations I wasn't having. So I guess the only curveball I would say is just the lack of knowledge, right? But that's something that gets fixed, as time goes on. So I
Hmm.
mean, you saw it, Will, we'll set up in calls. I'm like, hey, how do I do this? How do I change this workflow? Stuff like that, or like, how should I respond to this realtor? And then as time went on, I learned more about our program, stuff like that. And, I got a little bit more confident, more appointments came in. It just became more natural. You get me? So I guess the only
Yeah.
curveball would just be that learning curve, but that's about it.
Can you tell everybody who's listening what is it exactly that we did for you and the benefits it brought to your business? What exactly did we do for you so people really understand what we would be potentially doing for them?
Yeah, I mean, so the main thing that you guys did was basically set up this. this amazing system that essentially reaches out to realtors, through LinkedIn. Basically the whole purpose of this is to set up an appointment, right? So the whole point is to reach out to as many realtors as possible, well, as many that LinkedIn allows per day, right? As many connections per day, and then set up this meeting. That's where, we take over, as in, try to talk to them, figure out their pain points, see how we can partner up, and then basically just nurture it. So you guys have the system set up where you use like weekly nurtures, weekly emails, follow-up campaigns, stuff like that. So, that's honestly a huge part of the reason why I'm getting so many referrals now, is because of the fact that I have like this list of like 80, 90 different realtors that I've been nurturing for the past 6 months. And it's funny because some of them wouldn't send me anything or wouldn't respond to any texts or emails. And then like after like the fifth month, they just randomly like call me like, "Hey Alberto, I have a buyer for you." So it's pretty cool how the long-term nurture helps. But that's what you guys did. Set up these systems that long-term and short-term, has a lot of benefits.
So far, how many referrals have you closed as a result of the program? And if zero, because it's only been not even a year, how many
Right.
referrals have you received so far?
So received, I mean, this month alone is I'm at like 15, right? And these are all realtors that I've
Wow.
I've met through. Yeah, so these are all, I mean, for the most part, I think maybe like two or three realtors have been like just me, like, going to events and stuff like that. But for the most part, these are realtors I've been nurturing long term with, with you guys. So this month alone, I'm at 15, which the day we're filming this is the 15th. So that's one a day. So that's pretty good. And then long
That's
term,
pretty
I
good.
want to say it's yeah, it's pretty good. And then long term, I want to say I mean, it's obviously way more than 15, but I wouldn't be able to. I think it's like in the 70s. I gotta pull it up here. But nonetheless, as far as closings, I haven't closed one yet. I have like right now, at this very moment, I have about four or five that are pre-approved and looking. So they're
Mhm.
constantly like this weekend they saw home, stuff like that. So, I'm hoping for that first one to come in soon. But as of right now, nothing yet, but a lot of referrals, which is awesome.
Yeah, if you have 70 referrals, then it usually, what in my experience, when it rains, it pours. So when you close that first one, it
Right.
probably when rates drop, everyone, all those referrals are going to get a little bit more serious. So
A hundred
that's
percent.
nice
Yeah.
that they're all in your pipeline, not someone else's.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly.
So how many realtors have you acquired from our program that you consider your new referral partners that you have for the future?
I'd say right now I'm sitting at around 80 to 90 different realtors that I've met
Wow.
up with, had meetings with, and constantly nurturing. Obviously, I have a lot more realtors in the pipeline.
How many more do you have in your pipeline compared to
I
that
mean,
80?
overall, from you guys, like overall, I think I was close to, last I checked was like 800 or 900. Just from connections. But this is also including people who are not interested. That fall under like the not interested pipeline, stuff like that.
Of
But
course.
like there's different, and when you guys, if you guys join, you'll see that there's different pipelines. So there's gonna be like the, like not interested right now, follow up in 3 months, or like wants to set up a time or talk later, whatever. And there's different pipelines you can go through. So overall, it's like 900, which is insane for like 6 months of like prospecting. That's a lot of realtors that you have. But overall, as like those that I talk to, that I reached out to
Mhm.
on a monthly basis, nurturing stuff like that, I'd say I'm sitting somewhere in the 80 to 90 range.
Can you explain the pipelines in each stages to someone who's listening but doesn't really understand what that is? Can you explain it in your own words and why that has benefited you and how that's helped you basically? So
Yeah,
what is it
I
and
mean,
how it's
yeah, no, absolutely. So I mean, honestly, right? So pipelines. I mean, if you're new to CRMs, it's gonna change your life. If you know CRMs, then you kind of know what pipelines are. But nonetheless, essentially, it's a way to divide your leads, your whether it's referral partners or actual leads, into categories, right? So there's like people who replied on LinkedIn and you haven't said anything yet. People who had like a neutral reply who said whatever, like, hey, sure, let's talk, but like they didn't set anything up. People who missed your appointments, appointment schedules, appointment complete. So it's a way to categorize your different referrals or partner leads, and helps you keep organized. And then obviously you can create automations and workflows for each specific pipeline. So for example, Will and the team, they have set already like specific automations, for
workflows?
example, yeah, workflows. So for example, if it's like wants to chat now, like they want to set up an appointment, it sets up workflow for you to follow up to book that appointment. If it was an appointment miss, it'll reach out like, hey, let's reschedule, stuff like that. So it's just a way of staying organized and visually, but also like, staying organized in terms of workflows and automations and everything.
Yeah, for another client, I know it's happened to you, but for someone else, this
Hmm.
happened like before we hopped on the Zoom. Um, I noticed that you know how we send out emails to the realtors every Monday. Well, one of the
Hmm.
realtors responded to one of our clients, another loan officer in another state, up north from you, and the response was, "This is amazing information. Thank you for sending it to me." Now, this is
Oh yeah.
information that we already put into your system. You probably changed the number or two, but like you don't have to create anything. And that I was wondering, oh, it's a positive reply. What stage is this person in? And this person was in the not interested now stage. So even
Hmm.
though that person is not interested today, there's potential for them to get into an appointment. And eventually you get referrals from them, or not you, but this other person in the future. So even people who are not interested today, there's a system that is continuing to nurture them. And so that's, that little stage that happened today, I wanted to talk about that because that opens up a lot of time with your follow up because you're probably not following
Yeah.
up via like manual phone call anymore, right?
I mean, every once in a while, it just depends.
As
Obviously,
you
not all of
should.
them, right? Yeah, it just depends. Not all of them. Like, let's say I have 80 realtors I'm nurturing. Not all 80 are responsive in terms of like they reply. Like, we send weekly drip campaigns of text or whatever. So a lot of them will reply every week, like, "Hey, that's super useful," or "I appreciate it," whatever. Or
Mhm.
like some of the messages are like, "Do you have any open houses coming up this week?" And so they'll be like, "Yeah, I do. Here's the address, whatever." Some of them just don't reply for weeks. So those are a little bit like they're nurture, but they're like a little bit lower on the scale of like tier levels.
Of
There's
course.
like high tier and low tier. So the high tier I'm obviously calling, talking to them, catching up and then going from there. But yeah, I get those emails that you mentioned all the time, like all the time. Like I have people replying like, "Hey, that's really good info. I appreciate it." Especially the ones that have to do with like VA loans. I feel like not many people know about much VA loans and like guidelines, stuff like that. They're like, "Oh, that's really awesome info. I appreciate it." Stuff like that.
So how has your overall situation improved or changed since working with us?
I mean, the number one thing is just the referral partners, to be honest. I mean, that's like the number one overall situation. Like I said, I wasn't really a huge fan of cold calling. So going into it brand new, I was new in the industry. I had my book of business was zero. So I was trying to figure out how can I grow that book of business without having to cold call too much. I obviously tried cold calling for like the first month or so. It was all right, but it wasn't something I wanted to do long term. Like I didn't imagine myself doing that every single day of the week for like, years on end. So I figured I'm like, I need to figure out systems and I need to figure out a way to do this while, I'm asleep, while I'm on vacation, just
Mhm.
constantly prospecting. So that's like the number one thing. The biggest thing has been just building that book of business because like I said, I started from zero. Now I'm at like 80, 90. I actually just double checked. I think I'm actually over 100 realtors in terms of like constantly nurturing. So yeah, I mean that was the number one thing, just building some kind of book of business to, foundation to grow from.
So is it safe to say when you started working with us, you had 1 to 0 partners, and now you have, I mean, you said 80, which is crazy, but you have 80 people who like, know, and trust you, know your name, your face, your business. You've spoken to them. That's all accurate, correct?
Yeah, no,
I got that
absolutely.
right.
I got into the industry. I
Wow.
had zero. I might have known like two or three realtors, but like from school, like people I know from school that turned into realtors.
Yeah.
But like in the industry, I did not have any connections with anyone. It was just starting from scratch. So yeah,
I love seeing this happen. Obviously, you're not the first. And but you are another new loan officer who was looking for a faster way of doing things, and now you have a referral network basically, and a pipeline full of people waiting for rates to drop a little bit. So
pretty much.
during
Yeah.
during your overall 6 month experience with us so far, what was the one, if there was one thing, what was one thing you enjoyed the most? If you could say one thing.
If I had to say one thing, um, so I'm a very organized guy, right? So the number one thing I enjoy the most is just the fact that I'm able to organize everyone in like these different pipelines and have automations and workflows specifically for that. Because it really lets me create these systems. And the one thing I always heard from all these trainings and everything from since I started is like build systems, like build some kind of system that will work for you even when you're on vacation. Like for example, like I think it was last month I was on vacation. I was in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
And you
My
know,
home.
yeah, I was in Chicago. Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. So I see the background.
That's
Is that
Jordan.
Kobe?
That's
Jordan,
Jordan.
right? That's how I figured. I was like, it's Jordan, right?
You
Yeah, for
can't really
Chicago.
see, but yeah, there he is.
I saw a little bit of yellow, so I wasn't sure, but I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Jordan for Chicago. But yeah, no. So I was in Chicago. I spent like Thursday to Sunday there, and you know, usually the follow-ups go on Friday. So I was
Yeah.
there, you know, touring the city. But even then, I was nurturing these people, sending you know messages like, hey, you know what, you know, staying top of mind. And then the best part is that you guys have like the AI response.
Yeah.
So like I didn't have to think about it too much. I would just see the message, look at the AI response, be like, this one works, send, and just keep going. So it's just my favorite thing is just been the fact I've been able to create systems, stay organized, and stay top of mind.
I love that. Last question, and then well, that's enough questions for today. What would you tell someone who is skeptical watching this video? They're interested in working with us. They want to grow their referral network. They want the relationship business. They don't want the transactional business because there's two types of business models. They want the relationship business model.
Right.
Watching this video, they've seen our stuff. They're skeptical, which is 99% of people, including yourself, I think is safe to say. What would you tell someone who's interested in working with us after your experience and watching this video?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's very easy to be skeptical, especially today, like in today's world with social media. There's so many coaching programs, so many, you know, people trying, like my DMs are constantly filled with people trying to pitch me different, you know, things. So it's very easy to be skeptical. Honestly, it's just a matter of, you know, the numbers speak for themselves, right? So, you know, you're coming, it's coming from someone that had zero, like literally zero connections in this industry to having over 100 different realtors that I'm constantly nurturing. So the numbers speak for themselves is what I have to say, but also it's just like just try it out, you know. It's definitely worth it, you know, especially now that the market is starting to get a little bit better than when I personally started. I started in 2023, which I mean, you guys all know it's like probably the worst year to start in, but like now it's getting better. So now I'm getting a lot more referrals from those same realtors I connected with back in 2023, right? So like it's only gonna get better from there, right? So just try it out, see how it is, and it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, if you stop this system today, you'll still have all your referral partners for as long as you're in mortgages, as long as you're closing the loans right and work
Pretty much.
with their customers.
Exactly, exactly.
Cool.
As long as you're able to stay top of mind, because this industry changes quick. So if you don't stay top of mind, then they can forget about you. But that's what I love about Omega. You know, you guys are able to follow up, nurture all the time.
I was just gonna say, yeah, how does one follow up? But yeah, using systems. In this
Right.
case, Omega, which is our marketing platform and CRM. If you're watching this and you don't know what Omega is. Alberto, thanks for sharing your entire experience the last 6 months. It means a lot to me. I'm so happy to hear that it was a successful one. It has been a successful one. It's going to continue to be based off what you've told me. And anyone who's watching this, feel free to reach out to us so that we can help you grow your referral network as well, like we have Alberto's. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording. I still want to talk to you one-on-one privately, but man,
Mhm.
I love hearing 80 referral partners. I know you haven't closed any deals yet, but the fact that you're working with 80 people and they're not talking with anyone else and they're not sending their referrals to anyone else, and you've got 15 referrals in the last 15 days. And and you're right, you're coming out of the hardest era for mortgages. Um, Not my words, the experts' words. So I'm really excited for all those loans to close because they will. All right, Alberto,
Yeah.
thanks so much. We're going to stop this now. I appreciate your time, and I know everyone else, who's made it to the end appreciates it too. So thanks, man.